Senator Hurtado, welcome to the committee.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of this committee. I'm here because we are on the verge of a global food crisis that requires immediate action. And my bill, SB 559, the State Water Resiliency Act, will help prevent a global catastrophe. Last session, I introduced a bill of the same number that requested funding to restore the carrying capacity of the Fryan-Kern Canal. That bill was ultimately vetoed by the governor, but started a larger conversation about how and where we should be spending money when we have it to repair much-needed infrastructure that can better prepare us for our water needs in drought and non-drought years. This conversation was championed on the federal level by Senator Feinstein's and Congressman Costa's offices. They continue to lead this conversation today with a federal ask that mirrors the ask I bring before you to fund the canal conveyance repairs on the California Aqueduct, the Delta Mendota Canal, the San Luis Canal, and the Fryan-Kern Canal. The aging water infrastructure that makes up these canals are now experiencing between a 15 to 60% reduction of design flow capacity and at least $15 to $30 million per year in higher operational and power costs. This has significantly threatened the water supply for hundreds of Californians, including those in some of our most vulnerable communities. In fact, over 31 million Californians depend on the water that flows through these canals to run their homes, their farms, and their businesses. Over the course of 10 years, the projects will create 12,926 jobs directly and 25,139 indirectly. It will also preserve thousands more that could be lost if lack of water leads to fallowed lands. 2/3 of the nation's fruits and vegetables come from California. California feeds the world. A threat to our ability to produce food at the volume we do is a threat not only to the existence of our small and large farms, but to the people that they employ and our economic output as a state, and to the food security of those that have the least among us, but really everyone. SB 559 provides us the opportunity not only to plan for our future, but to protect it as well. This bill requests $785 million to fund canal conveyance repairs over the course of 10 years. In the past year, the Fryan Water Authority has assembled more than $175 million from local agencies and almost $250 million in federal funding to contribute to repairing the Fryan-Kern Canal. SB 559 creates a framework for the state to take on its rightful role in partnering with local agencies and federal government on fixing the state's water conveyance systems that help deliver water to achieve key state policies and goals for clean drinking water, groundwater sustainability, and habitat support. It is imperative that we invest in repairing these canals today, creating needed and good-paying jobs, securing access to drinking water for vulnerable communities throughout the state, and ensuring our capacity to remain the food capital of the world. I also want to thank my good colleague and friend from Bakersfield that's on the dais at the moment, and my good friend and colleague from northern part of California for being co-authors of this bill and for being supportive even for the last session.
I assume you're referring to the senator from Stockton.
Stockton. I'm sorry.
You know,
my
don't want
apologies.
anybody else to take the credit for something she did.
And here today in support, I have Jennifer Pierre, General Manager with the State Water Contractors, Richard Ortega, General Manager with the Grasslands Water District.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members, and I want to also thank the author for moving forward with this. And you basically inherited a big mess, and the solution is very difficult and very costly. We've been sitting here for 10 years discussing this restoration, and what has the state done in response to it till today? Really nothing, and that's a shame. This is a very important piece of a resource that's really important to the economy of our state, the health of our state, and very important delivering drinking water to a very large percentage of our state's population. It's very sad that we're nowhere closer to fixing this problem than since I've been here discussing this for 10 years. We're still discussing it here. So, you know, I'm looking at the bill and I see a reasonable proposal of local, state, and federal funding. That is a huge improvement from the last bill, which I also supported because I want to support a fix for this. But there is also, there's lots of considerations, and one of the positions this analysis takes is, well, whoever owns it and operates it needs to take responsibility. And it kind of alludes to the fact that we're here because they did something wrong. And really, this is a result of years and years of neglect of our water table here in California that has caused not only subsidence, but the reversal of the flow of a lot of these rivers that are now threatening species just because they're not flowing properly. And it also is causing saltwater intrusion in certain places of the coast that are threatening our ability to grow food in those areas. And that's a big problem. And we have to find a way to keep this flow healthy, moving in the right direction. And so this is not just about the area of Fresno County, Visalia area, or Central Valley. This is really about the whole ecosystem of our entire California estuary, which extends from Los Angeles all the way to Mount Shasta. And it's a massive estuary of it's hard to find another one in the world that is as important economically and in the production of food and as large and productive as this one is. So we have to really find the resources to make this work. And you know, I just want to encourage the author to continue to work on this. One of the segments I think that's missing from this bill that needs to be added is some level of making this a state priority at the federal level and using this bill to call on the current presidential and congressional bodies, the administration and Congress to really act on funding their fair share of this. And I think when you're selecting data and you're looking at data, one thing is important to note, that California has started to manage our groundwater. It's going to take years for us to make it healthy, but we've already started that process, which had been neglected for basically the entire existence of the state of California since 1850. We've been dipping into that aquifer for so long that the subsidence has now created damage, but now we're managing it. We're actually paying farmers to flood their fields so that the water could seep into the aquifer and battle the ongoing subsidence that's currently threatening the valley. And I think that's one policy that's very helpful toward this end. If we can arrest subsidence any further, we can start to make investments in this system and ensure that it'll be a one-time investment and that this will not continue further. So I think in combination with what we've done, we have a lot of a very strong, very solid ground to stand on to request more money from the federal government. I would encourage the author to add that to the bill, or at least introduce a resolution to asking the federal government to fund this issue. I think trillions are being raised for infrastructure. That's what I'm hearing. The federal government's working on an economic package that will bring money to fund infrastructure projects. This should be high on the list, and we should add this project to the list of eligible projects for that funding should the federal government act to do that. And I think that should be added to the bill so that they could fund a major portion of this. And give some flexibility in the bill. Should the federal government bring some of this money, there should be some adjustment to allow that money to come in and save the state some money, because we need the federal government's assistance and we need some of that money to come back to the state. So I want to encourage the author to continue to work on this. And I think this bill really needs to stay alive and move forward and use it as a means of communicating with our federal government and say, please get involved, because this is an important project for the state of California.
Thank you very much.